All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Become More Fluent in English in 100 Days. This is Elsa's very first live stream on developing confidence, fluency, and clarity in English. And we're going to do this through the new challenge called the 5-Day Challenge. I'll explain what that is in today's live stream, along with what you should be doing to join. So first of all, I should talk a little bit about myself. My name is Simon Kfeller. I work for Elsa as a senior content writer, but also as an English pronunciation specialist. I'm in charge of instruction and of our live academy, the teaching that's done there. And I'm really passionate about helping people become the best versions of themselves in English. I've been working as an English pronunciation coach for about 8 years in 3 different countries. I've worked with all sorts of people, students, people in the workplace, CEOs, executives. I've even worked with air traffic controllers and TV presenters, even with members of the European Parliament. So I've worked with a range of people, and I think I have a good understanding of what makes a non-native English speaker a better user of English. And that's really what we're going to try and achieve with this series. Hopefully over the course of 100 days, 20 times 5-day challenges will get us to 100 days of practice. And that's a really good benchmark for us to start looking at how we can become better and more fluent in English. So today my goal is to talk about 2 things. First of all, I want to tell you what the 5-day challenge is going to be all about. All right, I'm going to tell you what it is, how you can join, and how it's going to work. Secondly, I'm going to give you a day-to-day breakdown of what your first 5 days of practice are going to look like. All right, we'll be using the app to do that. I'll tell you what type of topics or skills we're going to be focusing on, one for each of the 5 days in this challenge. I'm going to show you some examples and give you some tips and tricks on how you can improve using the modules and the courses that I recommend. And finally, I'm going to try and explain to you why the practice areas that I've selected are important to your progress and the reason behind why I've chosen these courses for us to start. This first week is really going to be focusing on what I call pronunciation basics. And we're going to have a look at that a little bit later on. But first, let's talk about the 5-day challenge. What is it? What is our goal with it? Well, what we've noticed at Elsa with a lot of our users is that there's a few things that help people improve a lot in English. The first one is regular practice. You might know if you're using our coach feature or our daily lessons recommendation. So regularity is one of the big things that helps someone improve in English and with their clarity and confidence. It's a great way for us to build fluency, to be regular in your practice. The second big element that helps you improve rapidly is to be part of a group, to be part of a community of learners. So we wanted to give you the chance to practice often and with a group of people. The third element as part of this process is to have some support. That's where I come in. We're going to have coaches and pronunciation specialists that are going to join you and that are going to help you improve your practice. As far as this series is concerned, I'll be the person in charge of your progress and in charge of answering your question and giving you advice on how to practice. All right? So, to give you a little bit of sense of the format of the 5-day challenge, it's going to be 5 days of planned intensive practice that's supported by this community of learners and by Elsa instructors, as I said. Every day you're going to have a short course to complete. It's going to be pretty intense. That's 5 short courses in a week. After 20 weeks, we'll have practiced 100 days in Elsa, and hopefully we'll have improved quite a bit by then. All right? So, your first question is, how can I register? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to click the button to the 5-day challenge on the community space just below. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can click the link below as well. For all other users, there's a link that you could use. So it's bit.ly/Elsa123. bit.ly/Elsa123. Okay, so once you register, you're going to be asked to join a group, which you can choose based on your level. So we have groups for beginners, for intermediates, and advanced. All right, and the group you're assigned to or that you're going to choose will be monitored by a community administrator. All right, they're going to use the channel to send you announcements and links and courses and lessons to practice throughout this very intensive 5-day challenge. All right. The community space is also where we're going to collect your questions. If you have any questions, write them into your community group. Our administrators will pick up the most interesting ones and send them to me so I can discuss and answer your questions in my next live stream. All right? So, what do you need to do? Click the button to the 5-day challenge on the community space. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you click the link below as well, and you join us for this intense boot camp on English fluency. All right, the 5-day challenge. I'm really excited to get started on this. So, what is this first week, day 1 through 5, going to look like? This week, our first week, we're going to concentrate on what I call pronunciation basics. All right, we're going to have you work on 5 short courses that are going to help you build a very strong foundation for your next 100 days of practice in ELSA. All right, all the lessons that I'm going to recommend are available to you via the Simple Pro membership in the app. So that's a great way for us to get started. Okay, day 1. I want you to practice E and I sounds, all right? So this is a really important pronunciation skills for English learners. It's something that I notice all the time. I would say in about 95% of the learners I work with, I always notice this issue with E and A sounds being confused or being unclear. A good example is the word speak. You know that the name of our app is ELSA Speak. It's an important word for us, and I think it's a good place for us to start, right? So the word speak or speaking has a long E sound. I say long. Some people don't like to call it long, but I find it helpful because this idea of length really helps us create a sense of difference between the E and the I sound, which feels much shorter and is a bit more open, all right? Another example are the words sit and seat, all right? If I say, please, sit down, sit is a short A sound and it's open. If I say, please, take a seat, seat is lengthened and it's closed. And this distinction between the two is really what's going to help you establish more clarity, distinguishing between the long E and the short A. So I want to show you where you're going to practice that, what course you'll have to do during your first of the 5 days in the 5-day challenge, all right? And it's going to be this planet over here. Can you see that? I have it on skill 8, but you might have it on a different skill. What's important is to see this green planet with E and A sounds to practice, okay? Let's have a look. By the way, this is an interesting space for you to also get some more tips and information. Before you start each of the planets, you're always given or shown some videos to help you understand the skill that you're going to practice. And so this is just another way for you to gain more information about what you're going to practice. So I would encourage you to have a look at these videos in your own time before you have a look at these modules. Okay, for now we're going to click next and we're going to have a look at why don't we have a look at some words with E, so the long sound of the two.
Eat.
All right, that's very loud in my ears. I need to change my microphone here and my headphones. But the word here is eat. What you'll notice is that the long E sound is often written with 2 vowels. So you'll often see EA, like eat. You'll often see EE, as in feet, for example, or even IE, like believe or peace, for example. So 2 vowels, one after the other, chances are it's going to be a long E sound for you to practice, okay? So let's try it. Eat. All right, I've got it correctly. I got 100%. Woo! I guess that's a good thing, right? Since I'm teaching this course. But I'm sure I'll make some mistakes going forward. So feel free to tell me where I go wrong and what mistakes I make. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. So I'd love to hear your feedback on my pronunciation. Why not? Now let's try and do it with a short sound. I'm going to make a mistake on purpose here, just to show you how Elsa actually notices these things. It. So Elsa picked up on it. I purposely, on purpose, made this sound much shorter and much more open. This distinction between the short A and the long E is really important for you to develop and practice. It's really going to skyrocket your clarity if you're capable of being clear in those two sounds. That's why it's basic fundamentals for us to develop early.
Seat.
I talked about that word just earlier. Seat has a long E sound. Again, E and A. Yeah, let's try that. Seat. Yeah, fantastic. That works well. Now, I talked about sit before, an open sound. Let's try that. Let's again make a mistake on purpose. Sit. There you go. And Elsa has picked it up already. Okay, so this distinction between E and A, super important. Let's do one last one.
Leave.
Yeah, I'm leaving the house. I take my leave. All right, so let's have that. Leave. All right, perfect. So I think you get the point. The idea here is to have long E sounds versus short I sounds. To make a long E sound, think of the sensation that you have when you smile. E, like this. It's really helpful to get you to achieve this sound, bring the sound really forward in your mouth, in your nose, all right? It's almost like a nasty E sound. So that's an important one. For the A sound, it's a bit more open. Eh, it's a bit more relaxed, okay? So day one of practice of our 5-day challenge, it's E versus A in this planet space. So for those of you who have just joined us, we're talking about the 5-day challenge. We've just covered the first day of 5 in the practice that you'll have to do this week. So if you want to join this challenge, I would strongly encourage you to do that. You click the button on the 5-day challenge in our community space. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you click the link below and you join us. I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing English boot camp, and I can't wait to hear what you all have to say about Elsa, about your practice, and about your life in English. And I'll be there to support you every step of the way, as I promised. So, day 2 is going to be different. So I'm going to get out of here, but I'm going to stay in the planets. So, our day 2 is going to be focused on consonant sounds, but not just any consonant sounds, ending sounds. In English, and you see the planet here, in English, the accuracy of your pronunciation with final sounds at the end of words is super important, all right? If we drop an ending sound, especially a consonant sound at the end of words, it really affects the clarity of our speech. It can lead you to be misunderstood by your listener, and also, and more importantly, it can affect your grammar, all right? What do I mean by that? Well, often in English, the accuracy of our grammar is often shown at the end of a word. Let's take the example of one letter, the S sound at the end of words, all right? For your English grammar, this S ending is super important. There's 3 case scenarios where that always happens. The first one is the plural. So if I say, oh, I have a lot of meetings today, meetings with a Z sound is a plural, and we use the S to show that. All right. The second case is the possessive. So if I say something belongs to me or something belongs to someone else, I'll often add an apostrophe S to show that this item is my possession. So I could say, that's my mother's car. Mother's car. I use an apostrophe S here to show the possession of an object. So another S ending that shows my control of grammar, super important. Third case for this S ending, in English is the third person singular in the simple present. This, if you've studied English, it's always something that comes back. English learners always make this mistake of forgetting the S in the third person singular. It always comes up. So it's something that's very important for you guys to start developing as a skill. That's why we're talking about it today. An example of this third person singular would be something like, the door needs a new coat of paint. The door is an it, therefore it's a third person singular in the present. It needs an S. Needs a new coat of paint. Again, we have a Z sound here at the end of this verb. And again, an ending sound that we need to clearly pronounce if we want to make sure that people understand our grammar. All right, let's have a look at this ending sounds planet. Maybe we'll see some S's, maybe we'll see some other consonant sounds. Let's have a look. Ending sounds. Again, we see our videos here. All right. These are the videos of Rachel English, by the way, who's a collaborator of Elsa. So it's really cool for you to get some real clarity on your pronunciation with her stuff. Okay. So what are we going to look at? I'm seeing a lesson here called New Job. Any of you got a new job recently? Feel free to mention or tell us about your new job in the community space that you've just joined. Remember, click the button, 5-day challenge on our community space. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you click the link below and you join us for this boot camp and start communicating. Tell us what new jobs you've just had. If you don't have a new job, tell us what would be your dream job. Let's start talking about jobs. Our moderators will be there to ask you those questions, and hopefully you'll come up with some interesting answers. I can't wait to hear all sorts of amazing jobs that everyone is doing in the Elsa community. But for the moment, let's have a look at new jobs.
I work in customer service now.
Customer service. Does anyone work in customer service in our community? Put that in the thread and in our community space, start discussing. Have you ever worked in customer service? How was it? Was it hard? Was it easy? Did you decide to continue your career in customer service or move on? Tell us more. We want you to engage and communicate. Talk to us about your experience in customer service if you have had an experience in it. Okay, I work in customer service now. We have a few ending sounds that are particularly important. First one is service. We have a S sound here, and so that it doesn't sound like survey, we want to make sure we have a S sound at the end here, service. Also the word work. Now, that's always a tricky word for people to pronounce, because I think that, and you tell me if it's correct, but I think that a lot of people confuse work with word and with world, yeah, like traveling the world. I've always heard these three words like in a triangle getting confused with one another, and users always have an issue with these three words. Have you struggled with the pronunciation of word, work, and world? I want to know more. Mention it on the community space. Tell your moderator about it, and tell us about your experiences saying these three difficult words that kind of sound similar, but they're defined by just how the ending sound is at the end. This is why ending sounds is so important now. So for the word work, I need a K sound, and for service, I need a S sound. Let's try that. I work in customer service now. Yes! 99%. Whoop, whoop. Simon's in the house. Simon's in the house. Yeah. Fantastic. I got everything right. I'm very happy about that. Okay, let's do another one.
The job requires great communication skills.
I have a question here. Pop quiz question. In this sentence, there is a third person singular. Which word is it on? You have 5 seconds. Do 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 do. All right, 5 seconds. Which word is it? It's the word requires. It requires. The third person singular is with an S ending at the end of a verb. The job is an it. It requires great communication skills. Requires needs an S. We'll need to put an S there. Great has a T ending. Communication has a N ending, and skills also as an S ending with an L before. That's often tricky to pronounce. We call those consonant clusters. So lots of endings here. Let's try that. The job requires great communication skills. Pretty good, right? 98%. And the words were all clear, so I'm very happy with that. Okay, so why don't you practice these items, these short lessons, and maybe take a picture of your, or a screenshot of your result for these two items that I've just read, and let's see how our score compares, right? At the end of the week, by the way, we're hoping to have a graduation celebration and name a student of the week. So if you've performed well and if you've interacted with the community, we're going to consider you as student of the week. So day 2 of your work in ELSA will be to focus on ending sounds for this first week of the 5-day challenge. I'm going to leave this section now. We're not going to go very far though. We're going to move away from the planets and into the Explore tab. We're going to move to the third tab at the right, which is game type, and we're going to have a look at the fourth item from the bottom, which is called word stress. This one over here. Why word stress? Word stress is going to be what you're going to spend your third day of practice in ELSA this week. Okay? What is word stress? Basically, in all English words that have more than one syllable, 2 syllables or more, we always have one syllable that's more important than the others. All right? And this contributes to create the beautiful music of English. Okay? So it's very important for you to start noticing and practicing which syllables in words should be made more present, or should be said more loudly or with more energy. All right? This word stress skill helps you develop the music of English, what we call a natural intonation. And intonation is super important for your overall fluency, for how natural you're going to sound in English. That's where we're looking at this on week 1, because it's so important down the line to build this word stress skill. All right, so let's have a look at these word stress games over here. These are generally in order of the most recent content, but let's have a look. Why don't we have a look at, ordering coffee at a drive-thru by Summer Rain. Let's have a look at that. Summer is one of our amazing influencers. We've worked with her for many modules, and she always has really interesting topics to talk about. And ordering coffee, I really like coffee, so let's have a look at that. Let's do the first exercise here. Can you stress these words?
Topping.
Oh, topping. So we're discussing things that we put on top of our coffee. What is your favorite coffee topping? Is it chocolate? Is it caramel? Do you like to have a little bit of foam on it? What type of coffee do you prefer? Do you hate coffee? Do you love coffee? Tell me about your relationship to coffee. My relationship to coffee, I love it in all of its forms, generally with oat milk on the inside and a bit of caramel topping, right? Oh, that sounds so good. Okay, but now we need to pronounce the word topping. Syllable here is on the first, the word stress is on the first syllable here. So I need to exaggerate the first T sound. Topping. Fantastic. Let's do the next one.
Flavors.
Yeah, do you put flavors in your coffee? I like hazelnut, vanilla, caramel, I already said that, chocolate. Some people put weird flavors in their coffees. Anyway, let's try that. Flavors. Very good. Now let's do a mistake. Let's presume that someone puts the stress at the end here. Let's see what it sounds like. You'll see how unnatural it feels. So I'm going to stress vers instead of flavors. Flavors. Elsa doesn't like it. No, our stress should be on the first syllable, all right? So the more you practice this reliable placement of the stress in English, the more natural you'll sound. That's why we're covering this so early. All right. One last one.
caramel,
Yes, my favorite topic is on there. So stress on the first syllable here. Caramel. Woot, woot, woot. Very good. Okay. Day 3 of your practice is going to be to go to this word stress practice space. And I want you to do as many lessons as you can on day 3. Practicing stress placement. It's a foundational skill. It's a really important skill for you to build and develop as you grow and improve in English. If you're practicing skills like word stress early, you're going to have a natural delivery going forward. All right. For those of you who are just joining this live stream, we're talking about the 5-day challenge. We've covered days 1, 2, and 3 of what you'll be working on during your first week on the 5-day challenge. So if you want to join, I strongly encourage you to do that. It's a boot camp, 5 days of practice a week for 20 weeks. That takes us to 100 days of practice in English and a whole lot of progress going forward. So if you want to join us, click the button on the 5-day challenge in our community space. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you click the link below and you join us. You'll be assigned a group. You jump on the group and you start interacting and learning with other fellow ELSA users. Really cool. Okay, let's leave this section. We're going to start talking about day 4, what we're going to be focusing on. Now, day 4, we're going to change our approach a little bit. We're not going to work with pronunciation skills, but we're going to work with topics. All right. So if you're back on the Explore tab here, you'll see that we have recommended, topics, and game type. Let's move away from game type and into topics. At the top, you'll see a whole series of categories of topics that you could be interested in. All right. Let's say that we're having a look at work and career, right? A lot of people are learning English for their career. Can you tell us your story about that? Are you trying to improve English for work? Are you soon traveling for your work? Do you have to do more presentations for your work? Tell us more about why English is important to you, especially in the context of your work. I'd love to hear more about that to understand the sort of situations that you guys are requiring some more English for, okay? Let's have a look here. What should we have a look at? Software engineering. All right, there's a lot of people that work in software in the world we live in, right? And also in software engineering, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a lot of complicated vocabulary, right? Words can be difficult. This is a great way for you to focus your learning on a topic. It helps you narrow the amount of words and vocabulary and expressions that you need to learn, and therefore your progress is going to improve, right? For this person, maybe the word computer, internet, or software is going to be more important than the word chimpanzee or burger or, I don't know, basketball, right? So we need to select the vocabulary that we want to focus on based on our interest and the reason why we're practicing English. That's what day 4 is going to be all about. Focusing our learning on subjects that are important to us. So let's have a look at this software engineering module. There's a lesson over here called The Qualities of a Good Software. I don't know what it takes for a good software.
Effective software produces the correct output.
Well, there we go. It produces the correct output, apparently. So difficult words here. Effective. Beautiful adjective, by the way. Software. Produce. Correct. These are all words that you're going to use often in a career as a software engineer or as a software developer or a UX UI designer. Lots of people do that now. So let's try that. Effective software produces the correct output. I'm doing pretty good. I'm already at 93%. Elsa tells me that my R sounds in correct are not perfect just yet. Let's do it again. I need to improve, right? Effective software produces the correct output. Yes, so I've solved my R. There's still a little sound here. It's a schwa. It's an unimportant sound in English. It's got to do with the weak form. I'm not going to worry so much about that. The important words here in terms of vocabulary are there. Effective software produces correct output. Let's move on. Okay, so modular, interesting word. Modular software is easy to test and can be reused. All right, interesting. I'm having issues with my E sound here. You'll notice that sometimes the E sound is not on the stress, okay? For example, the word easy is stressed on the first syllable, but we also have an E on the second syllable. You'll notice that those often finish with a Y. Adverbs in English, for example, sadly, happily, interestingly, will have an Y ending at the end and will also require an E sound, the sound we practice for day one, but at the end and off the stress. That's why some people hesitate to call it long, because it shouldn't be energized as much, but it still is an E sound. Maybe let's practice that again. Modular software is easy to test and can be reused. All right, well, I've solved my first one, and I'm at 97%, so I think that's pretty good. I can move on. Let's do one last one. It can be modified to adapt to new requirements. That's a really good score. And we have difficult words here. Requirements, for example, right? That's tricky. Modify, adapt. A lot of difficult vocabulary that's focusing on a specific interest or a specific area of English. This is really what you want to do. So I want you to select for your day 4 of practice a topic that is important to you to practice based on your interests or your work. Okay, I want you to go through a course. It's going to be intense, lots of lessons to practice, but let's do a push this week on topic-based learning. I think that's really, really important. So, as part of our community space, I want you to tell us, which course did you select? Did you select a course on travel? Did you select our hospitality module? Are you interested in working in airlines or in aviation? Did you practice informal speech? You can practice a whole bunch of modules based on your interest. I want you to select one course and practice that on day 4. For those of you who are just joining us, you click the button to the 5-day challenge on our community space to join this new and amazing group of English learners who are going to start this marathon practice. 100 days, 20 weeks, and 5 intense days of English practice, 5 courses in 1 week. So in just a little bit more than 3 months, we'll have done this whole process together. So I'm really excited to be the person that kind of navigates us through this long journey, this big crossing of the Atlantic as we practice. Amazing. Cool. Day 5. By that time, we'll start being a little bit tired. So day 5 is going to be a little bit more open, and I'll explain why. I'm just going to go out of this section here. So our day 5 in ELSA is going to be focused on learning with others, all right? What's going to be very important for us to go the distance to 100 days of practice, it's to be part of a community, be part of a group, all right? And so for your 5th day of practice this week, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to create your own study set, and I want you to join a new community, all right? So how do we do that? First of all, we go to the bottom of the screen and we click the 4th icon, the magnifying glass, right? I'm going to ask you a question, pop quiz. There's a famous detective that has a magnifying glass. Can you type the name in your community space? Who's that famous detective with a magnifying glass looking at clues in a ghoulish murder or something? Let's see if any of you have the answer. Write that down in your community space, and maybe you'll just get a prize or be considered for Student of the Week in our 5-day challenge. So when you get to the study sets here, you can create your own. This is one of the homework I would like for you to do this week. You can write your name, talk about the type of category of your study set. You can choose to make your study set public or not, okay? And then you can add items, lessons, and courses to that study set. So I'd like you to create one of those this week on day 5. Another thing I'd like you to do is to go to the community space here and join the communities over here. There we go. You'll see that you have a whole bunch of groups that have been created by ELSA users here. All right. And I would like for you to join one of them and start contributing to the progress and the learning of other people. Let's see which one we should join. This one's interesting. Pumbaa. What does that make you think of? Pumbaa makes me think of the Lion King, right? Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful friend. Hakuna Matata. It means no worry for the holiday. I don't remember the words. It's our problem free. That's the thing. Philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Nice. This is what we're going to practice. All right. Now, you'll notice that in this space, people are adding words that they're struggling with, or sentences or items that they're having an issue with. What do you think of my voice? Any tips for me? So Lynn Dui Din is asking for some help. As part of that community, we can decide to help Lynn. Let's have a look. We click on help. Now let's listen to what this person said. So it looks like they're doing this exercise as a family over here. Lots of difficult words for learners that are this young. But over here, when we have long numbers like this, 1,234,567,890, that's quite a lot of items here. I don't really know where that comes from, but maybe they wrote it themselves. Let's see how we can do it. Why don't we try and record it? 1,234,567,890. And I'm going to write, gosh, that's a big number. There we go. And now I've just contributed to this community. I've added my my answer to this group and hopefully contribute to them improving. And I shared my score with them. Okay, so what we want you to do with this 5-day in the community space for the 5-day challenge is to actually contribute to a community and create your own study set. All right, these are going to be the 2 pieces of homework I'd like you to work on for this day 5 of your first week in the 5-day community challenge. So this covers the material that you're going to be working on for this first week. All right, now I have to mention that if you guys have any questions, all right, your best place to ask questions is to go to the community itself and type your questions into that group. Our moderators, the people that work for ELSA and that keep an eye on how the groups are doing, will collect these questions and they'll give them to me. And I'll take the most interesting ones and answer them in my next live stream, which will be for week 2. So today we talked about the 5-day challenge. It's important for you to join. You click the button to the 5-day challenge on our community space. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you click the link just below this screen. And for users who are in need of a link to go directly to it, you can go to bit.ly/ELSA123. That's bit.ly/ELSA123. Okay? Whew, we've reviewed our plan for the first 5 days in the 5-day challenge. All right, there's going to be 20 weeks like that. That's going to take us to 100 days of practice. Can you imagine how much progress you're going to make over 100 days of practice if you join? I think it's going to be amazing. Tell us what your hopes are for this course, for this intensive boot camps. Do you have personal objectives? Would you like to feel more confident presenting, for example? What are you looking to do with this new fluency that you're going to build in English? I'm really excited to hear that. Why don't you share that into your community, and maybe we'll share a few of those stories in our next live stream. All right. In conclusion, I'm really excited for us to get started on this. I think it's going to be an incredible journey of discovery, of learning. You're going to learn things. I'm going to learn things. We're all learners at ELSA, and that's the reason why I think it's such an amazing space for us to be working in. All right. So from myself and from the rest of the team, I want you to know that we're going to be there to support you every step of the way, and that we're going to be there to support your learning throughout this 100-day challenge. All right. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'm going to check in with you later on this week to see how everyone is doing with their practice. Have a great rest of your week. Great practice for days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the 5-day challenge. Great job. Join us on the 5-day challenge into the community space. That's our place for us to meet and practice. All right. Have a great one. Thank you so much.